Hi everybody, this is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto. I have with me James Crypto Bull from the James Crypto Bull channel. He's been on with me before. We're going to be both talking to Dwight. Dwight is the CEO of Krios. I've never featured Krios on my channel before. I'm delighted that he's finally made it. I've been holding Kree tokens, now gig tokens, since September last year. And we're going to be talking about Kree, about TNC, about new exchanges, about changes to the token economy, and all kinds of exciting stuff. James, anything you want to say very quickly to introduce yourself?
James Crypto Bull, just a YouTuber for maybe 2.5, 3 years, I think. Got into the space, just buying Ethereum, and eventually bought into the Krios project in its original format, and then stuck with the project and hooked up with Dwight, and been with the project ever since, really.
Very good.
It's very exciting.
Very good. Yes, and I shall link to your channel in the description below, and please go and subscribe to his channel. And James, you need to open an account on BitTube as well, which is where this video will be posted first, and then later YouTube. And then Dwight. Hello, Dwight.
Hi, how are you?
Dwight, thank you so much for making yourself available and for doing this. And this video is going to be, it's going to be on both channels, on my channel and on James's channel, in different parts, which we're going to work out. We're sharing Dwight, and James was the one who introduced me to Krios, and thank you so much for that. Dwight, do you want to start by introducing yourself and saying a little bit of what Krios is, because people on my channel won't know?
Yeah, hi. My name's Dwight Ringdahl, and I am the owner of the Krios project. We purchased the project as a kind of a failed crypto project that had some aspirations at the time of being a employee platform for the ad tech world. My background is ad tech, so I kind of got involved in it and interested in it, and we've kind of changed it around quite a bit since then, but it's a freelancing platform. It's actually an application that is live and making money right now. It's Krios.io is the website, and it's very similar to a combination of freelancer.com, upwork.com, and fiverr.com, with some different spins to it that are different than the other places do, and we've got a lot to look forward to. We actually launched the application. My wife and I purchased the project back in May of last year, so we're just past our 1-year anniversary. The application was launched in December, starting to pick up traction. Then, unfortunately, COVID hit, so that's kind of slowed down the process a little bit there. But I'd like to take the opportunity, especially with Crypto Rich, to kind of go over some of the exchange plans and some of the tokenomics that we're working on to make Kree, which was originally Kree, K-R-I, as a token. We just rebranded it about a month and a half ago to Gig, which is more relevant to the type of application that we do. People think of freelancing as gigs and stuff like that, so we were able to kind of get the GIG name on some of the exchanges. There was a former Gig out there that was a different kind of company, but we were able to take them over.
Okay, so, very good. Now, just a few questions that I've got about Kree, the platform, for myself and also people watching this to find out a bit more. So it's like Fiverr and everything, where people can put themselves forward to fulfill on, I don't know, digital tasks like copywriting and video editing and whatever, and other people can actually look for and pay for those people to do work.
Yeah, that's correct. So that would be like the Fiverr side. So the Fiverr side, you go out there and kind of post a resume, basically. You get a profile and you say, I can do graphic arts, or I can do voiceovers, or I can do this kind of stuff. And you put a price list out there, I'll do your phone recording for $25 or $125, whatever price it is that you want to charge. That would be the Fiverr side of the application. On the Upwork and freelancer side, it's where an employer comes out and says, we have this job and we need these tasks done, and they're usually pretty specific as to what they need done. Bid. So then the freelancers will come out there and say, well, I'm really good at doing voiceovers, and I'll go ahead and bid, and here's my bid. And they submit it to the employer. The employer kind of vets those freelancers and then moves forward.
Right. So your platform combines both of them, both those aspects.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
And what's the advantage that you offer for users of your platform to those ones, to the other ones?
Right now, primarily the main thing is our fees are pretty much drastically lower, upwards of almost 10% lower, either between the employer side and the freelancer side. So that's a key benefit to what we offer. What we're about to be doing, and we'll be talking a little bit later with James about some of the stuff, but one of the things is that we are offering probably a higher quality employee is the goal at the end of the day, people that have actually been vetted. So we currently have a KYC process on the application where an employer can say, well, let me make sure you're a real person before I give you this job for $1,000. And they have to go through a KYC process to make sure, just like regular KYC, know your customer kind of thing. And that gives them a little more security in the fact that they're dealing with a real individual versus, what we're finding in our research over the last couple of months is that the three competitors that we're, working on getting some of their business from is the biggest issues that employers have with those companies is the fact that there's a lack of credibility. And the credibility lack is really based on the fact that the employees that are listed out there, all they have to do is basically fill out a Facebook profile on some of them. It's like,
Right.
And they consider that a validated person. Well, we all know that that's pretty easy to do and pretty easy to fake. So we took it a little bit, we took it one step level already with the KYC process. But that's going to be changing here shortly, and I'll get into greater detail later about that.
Okay. Now that okay. So I can see how companies could lose out by going, because they could end up being defrauded or get shoddy work.
Yeah, so traditionally the platforms that do freelancing, us and our competitors, we kind of act as the middleman and try to resolve disputes in those situations. So if I said that I was going to get a voiceover and Mickey Mouse's voice came over and it just said haha, thanks for the money kind of thing, we would say you're not going to get it. So we're the arbitrator of the funds and quite honestly the escrow company that holds the funds during the transaction. So it protects the freelancers from not getting paid, which is a big problem as well. And we hold on to the funds. They do their job. They get paid. They can do it in installment payments. It's basically however the two of them have agreed to do it.
Right.
But we, like I say, kind of are the middleman to make sure that it's fair for both sides. That's really what we try to do. And as far as being fair on both sides, that's another thing I think that Krios is we're trying and really striving to be fair for both sides. If you look at some of the older videos of interviews that I've done and relationships that James has brought to us, we've sponsored MMA fighters, and our coin phrase is we fight for both sides. In some of the platforms that you'll see out there, it's pretty much kind of like eBay. eBay will always favor the seller.
Right.
Always favor the buyer. So if you're the buyer and you say, well, I didn't get it, but it's sitting in your hands, you're going to get your money back and you got the product. It's happened to me many, many times. So, we want to make sure that both sides get represented correctly. And several of the platforms, they always favor the employer. And, quite frankly, the money comes in from the employer to a company. It's more valuable to have the employer like you than it probably is the freelancer, because we make a small percentage in the middle there. But that being said, that's not fair. So just because that's the best thing possibly for the company doesn't mean it's the best thing for the people involved. So.
Okay. And you want to say just a little bit of...
I was going to say, Rich, I just want to touch back on what Dwight said in terms of some of the sponsorships. Actually, one of the guys that we sponsored, a guy called Jai-Herbert, has been signed for the UFC. So some pretty
Yeah.
tidy stuff. And also Natty won the world title as well. So, and I've been training with him. He's a beast. So there's some great sponsorships, and hopefully we can continue some of them, because I know the guys have been dead keen on the sponsorship, and they've been wearing the shirts, and especially Yannick, he's all over everywhere with his top. He loves it. So it's great.
James, thank you. You're clearly MMA fan. I'm not. I know nothing about it. Thank you for that. All right. I was how does the token work in all of this? The gig token.
So we do not currently use the gig token as a payment or monetary process within the platform itself. You know, quite frankly, and you know, I've got years of business experience behind me. I've you know, a serial entrepreneur for the most part. I mean, I've started a lot of businesses, sold a lot of businesses, and done quite well with it. One of the things that people expect is some consistency and assurances. And unfortunately, our token is not a stable coin. And I think, you know, if we were a stable coin, then I think we could use it as a monetary process to use between the employer and the employee. But the last thing you want to do is, you know, say, you know, I'm going to do all this work for $1,000, and then, you know, the gig token goes down 20%, and all of a sudden your work just became $800. So we do support 140 different fiat currencies around the world. They're paid out through a third-party system that we've contracted with. We will also pay out on request in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether. Eventually, it would be nice to be able to pay out in gig, or give them the option of using gig as you know, if I'm the guy doing the work and I'm adamant about being paid in gig, I think that's an option we should offer up on the platform. But currently, gig is not used in the payment sense whatsoever. So that being said, what is gig used for? So gig is used truly as a method of distribution of profits. So unlike other coins, there's a couple of other coins out there that do a profit share based on their business, but I look at our gig tokens as our stock certificates for the most part. And we have, you know, spent a lot of money with the lawyers, you know, trying to make sure we're within the guardrails of the SEC and all that other kind of stuff. But the way that we have designed it is that it's kind of a third-party company that basically pays a profit share. We can't call it dividends or anything, but the idea for the gig token is to create an economy which is bolstered by some sort of a profit sharing arrangement from the companies that this business owns. So in other words, you know, we might have a quarterly profit and the company decides to give, you know, 50% of the profits away, and that becomes distributed amongst all of the outstanding shares. One thing that we're doing that's unusual in the space as well is that we originally did a test just to make sure our software worked and everything, and we had a contest called the Big Fish Contest, and people would get bonus at that time CRE tokens based on, you know, the volume of CRE that they held. We're going to actually use ETH or Ethereum as the payment method for any future profit shares. So the profit share then becomes something a little more tangible. Again, like I said, you know, if gig token was widely distributed on a lot of exchanges and we had a lot of volume going on the buy and the sell side, then it would make sense to probably give out gig token versus Ethereum. But Ethereum is kind of like giving out cash. It's also part of the Ethereum chain. We're an ERC20 token. So because of that, we're able to use the exact same address. So I can very simply see through the blockchain that this person has 1,000 gig and they're going to get this percentage of the profit share. So it makes it super easy for us to be able to actually make the distributions happen. So that's kind of really what the token is used for in our mindset. It's, you know, it's not really a highly traded. You're not going to see like truckloads of volume on it because most of the people that buy it to hold. So
yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I'm reminded because you won an award last year as
Yeah.
the best
Yeah. Yeah, good
cryptocurrency
memory
project.
because I I didn't even think about bringing that up. Yeah, so we were awarded in January of this year the 2019 best investment in crypto down at the Miami Blockchain Convention during the Washington Elite. Actually, gave us that award, which was great. If you had bought the Cree token at the beginning of 2019, you would have gotten a 313% increase in the valuation of your money, which, you know, being that 19 was pretty much a crypto winner for most places, that was a pretty solid return. And quite honestly, and we'll go into a little bit of this, you know, we did a distribution. It wasn't really a profit share.
Yeah.
We were able to work out and negotiate a deal with another token company that we've been able to basically get 2 of their tokens for every gig token, a Cree token at the time, that you held. And that's turning out to be really possibly a super spectacular thing. I mean, we may exceed easily this year at 1,000%, which is pretty spot on. And again, that's kind of really not a profit share. You know, people need to understand there's revenue and there's profits, and there's a vast difference between those. You know, first off, you've got to have revenues to even generate profits, but revenues need to exceed the costs of the business to create a profit. And I think a lot of people fail to understand that. This deal that we did with TNC was kind of an arm's length transaction that we were able to actually get some real revenues back to the gig holders, which is pretty sizable. So
Yes. And then I do know that the deal that you got with TNC is very different to the deal that TNC have given other projects.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
very well,
yeah,
as a geek holder,
there's
very
some
good for the
people that
geek
don't like
holders.
that.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some people that don't like that, but we were able to negotiate a pretty solid deal. The other projects that had a similar deal to the TNC project ended up having to give up their asset. Basically, with ours, you did not give it up. We just swapped it out to a gig versus versus the Cree asset. But you know, it's not free. You know, some of the other projects are like, well, you know, Krios got stuff for free and all this other kind of stuff. No, it's not. I've been an advisor over at TNC now since September of last year, and there's a lot of hours that have been put into making that relationship and trying to help that business out as well. So.
Yep. So I know there have been issues with the TNC token because it's been locked. People knew it was going to be locked, and then it's been delayed, and there's no date for when it's going to be delayed. This doesn't seem to me like there's been much in the way of communication from the TNC team or any way of accessing them. So there's been lots of concerns about that. So is there anything you can let us know about that now?
Yeah, so you know, there is an announcement that came out today about them trying to make up for that a little bit. It's been a difficult road to hoe. I mean, it's taken an enormous amount of time out of my time and a lot of other people's time, quite honestly, to try to get this deal done. You know, to be, I guess, nice about it, I think that they were probably just not prepared quite for the amount of work that it was going to take. You know, for instance, like the distributions of tokens. You know, James, you can you know, point this out for sure, that because I think you're actually waiting on your second batch as well. I will take the responsibility for that because I do know that there was a delay coming. So I have not personally done the stuff that I needed to get done to get those out, along with probably another 30 or 40 new people that have signed up over the last couple of weeks. But it's a onerous project or process to get through. So we have to, look at the wallet address that a person has sent in. I have to send that to the TNC group. They have to verify that that wallet address is actually an Aladdin wallet, which we found out is a partnership with Aladdin that they have. It's not fully owned by them. So they've got to get that so that they know that that 10% drip that happens comes from the Aladdin wallet, because that's the only way they can control it. If you give me a Mu wallet or a Trust wallet, then I send you all the TNC, you could immediately trade on that. And that's what they wanted to prevent. So then once they come back and say, okay, Dwight, well, yeah, that's a Trust wallet, then I've got to go back and verify the amount of tokens that are there, times it by 2. We've got to look at the blockchain for every one of this. The 5 CEOs of the projects that they brought in initially have to do this manually ourselves, because there's a lot of money involved in it. And then I have to sit on my iPhone, and if you've used the Aladdin Pro wallet, I have to literally type all that stuff in on my iPhone. I can copy and paste wallet addresses and stuff, but even that, by the time I paste a wallet address, go back to my notebook to get the amount, I got to re-log into the dang wallet. So, it takes me 8-10 hours to do a couple hundred of those things. Oh, then God. Aladdin's got to sit, I had blisters on my fingers on this. Crazy. Then TNC has to approve that transaction, and Aladdin's got to approve that transaction. And that took last batch I did took 3 or 4 days for them to approve that. So, it's just a very onerous process. And to TNC's credit, they're looking, for ways. We're kind of their guinea pigs, unfortunately, and that's painful for us. But I think overall, it benefits our users the most. It's better to be first than last, if you watch Talladega Nights, right? But the process is going to be automated. There's absolutely no reason that anybody should have to touch that. It's very simple to have a computer look at the blockchain and say, hey, I just got 1,000 CRE, I owe you 2,000 TNC, and automatically do that. That shouldn't be a manual process that's done at the CEO level at the least, So I think that process will help get streamlined. The other 2 things that we kind of pointed out through this, kind of debacle of times, and we're going to do this on this day, and we're going to do that on that day, and dates just falling through the holes, is the distribution of the 10%. I brought up to them probably 2, maybe even 3 months ago. Okay, so let's just say, on June 1st at 100 UTC, the 10% comes open. Okay, do you automatically have it set to give everybody 10% access? And the answer is no, they didn't. So that's got to be automated. Then the other problem is, because it's a curated wallet, which means that some admin has to agree to let you transfer your assets off of that wallet. What order does that come in? Does that come in chronological order? So at June 1st, 100 UTC, you got thousands of people saying, hey, I want to take my 10% out and put it in my Mu wallet so I can trade it. Based on our experience, that would be a week. Some guys are going to get it day 1, some guys are going to get it a week later. How fair is that? Not real fair. So things like that had to get solved and automated in order, I think, for this thing to work correctly and fairly.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, because I had no idea of all those steps that were involved and what it was going to take and how tedious it all is, plus the risk of, of just simple human error.
Yeah.
And the
a lot of human error and a lot of unfairness. And that's kind of the main thing. If you're gonna have something like that, it's got to be fair for everybody. Can you imagine, had they released it, how ugly it would have gotten? People would have been saying, oh, it was at 27 cents and now it's at 5 cents because these first 5 people started dumping their TNC out there, and I didn't get a chance to dump it. It's just a horrible situation. So it literally has to be something that, at computer speed happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So how long till all this coding is done?
So
It's also got to be tested and audited and.
yeah, it does. You know, we've got over on the Krios side, we got a solid team. I mean, you know, I don't think your users understand some of the history that we've gone through since we took it over. But we've had contract changes several different times for different reasons. The last one was we basically the company got defrauded of about 100 million gig or Cree tokens at the time in a business deal that we were going to do to raise some cash for the company. And within 24 hours, we were able to, first off, we stopped all trading within an hour of that. So we kind of stopped them from having any value on stealing our tokens. But within 24 hours, we had recreated a contract, reissued the contract, and had the exchanges change the contracts and start trading back up in 24 hours. So, you know, it can be done pretty quickly. What I've been told by the TNC guys is somewhere between 60 days from now to no later than October 1st is the date that they've given us for the initial 10% to be distributed. You know, with the announcement today, basically on that 10%, TNC is willing to do an over-the-counter purchase of anybody that opts to do that of 4 cents per TNC. So,
right. And then if they go for that, then that means that if they go for the 4 cents and the price on October the 1st, let's say that's when it happens, is higher, then they're going to get it at 4 cents. And they've not done well. And if it's lower, they still get it at 4 cents. And if they don't go for that 4 cent deal, they get it at whatever the market rate is on October the 1st.
Right. It just becomes open to them, so that 10% becomes freely tradable to them. So it's you know, it's I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think it's going to motivate the TNC guys to get a market going. I think which is important. I think it's also you know, gives a little bit of a comfort zone, I think, for the people that invested in, you know, whether it's the Cree token at the time or whether it's Edge, which was one of the other projects, and in hopes that, you know, TNC would actually end up being some money. So I think, you know, it's a good backstop. Hopefully it'll be trading at 25 cents, and hopefully there'll be plenty of volume going on that everybody can, you know, get out there and sell a little bit of it anyway and you know, make some money.
So on the back of, obviously the TNC deal was part of getting some capital for the Cree project, and there was a lot of mergers, acquisitions, there was a lot of other stuff in the background. What are the plans there, and what was the delay meant for you?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is important to us. I mean, that was the motivation for us to get into the TNC deal in the first place, was that it would create some liquidity for the company, quite a bit of liquidity, actually. The company still owns about 65 to 70% of all the tokens out there in a treasury account that's used for mergers and acquisitions. So it was going to give us, without actually giving up our gig, the ability to go out and purchase some of these companies that I've been pretty fond of over the last year or so, wanting to pick up. So, you know, it's offers for marketing is definitely a delay as far as the you know, path that we wanted to take with Krios and its application, but you know, it'll all work out at the end.
And I suppose, what are the long-term benefits of these acquisitions for someone that wants to hold the gig token?
I mean, very strong. I mean, if you know, if the TNC deal, you know, I can't say it's going to actually 100% happen. It's not my company. I mean, you know, if it was, you know, it still got to have some faith out there, I guess. But you know, if it does happen, it's huge for the gig token holders. As far as the profit shares go, a couple of the different projects that we're looking at are quite profitable, and you know, we've already had substantive discussions with their, you know, C-level staff about, you know, rolling them into our project and stuff like that, and you know, it's just a matter of writing a check. So big checks, but gotta have some money to do that. But you know, they're additive to the Krios platform too, which is really good. They're good fits for what we do. So
cool. And we had some other questions come in. One of them is obviously, what is your biggest success and also regret in terms of, I know some people are new to sort of the project on Rich's channel. I know some of the guys are longer term holders, but what are the things? Because it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride.
You know, who would have ever thought that buying a defunct crypto business was a good idea, right? You know, I don't know what I drank the night before or what. No, so I mean, you know, as far as the things that I'm probably most proud of that we've succeeded at in the last 12 months, you know, obviously most importantly is we actually created a project. You know, one of the things that I've been a guest speaker at several of the Bitcoin conventions and stuff. One of the things I always tout is the fact of having a good brick and mortar business behind a crypto, and that's kind of the only way a crypto's got a value. Otherwise, it's just air. You know, there's nothing to it, and that's kind of why we look at our token more as a stock certificate, because we feel that the brick and mortar business is reflective of what happens to the token. So that being said, you know, having the application out and running, although we're going to be making quite a few changes to it, is probably the thing I'm most proud of. Very closely aligned to our community. I'm super proud as far as crypto communities go. I'll put mine against anybody's out there. We have a very solid community of followers and helpers and investors. You know, it doesn't come from, you know, my brain to try to figure out what works and what doesn't work. It's a collaborative occasion, basically. You know, we sit there and we think, okay, well, we think we know what we're doing, and then somebody comes in with a question, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, wait a second, maybe we don't know what we're doing, or they come in with a good idea, and it's something that that really helps the business out a lot. We're not a lot of the projects, and I've probably seen more of this now since I've been exposed to a couple of the other projects that TNC brought in. I would not want to be the guy in charge of their projects. I mean, their communities are rough. I mean, it's like, why would you even log in? I'd be running for the, I mean, we've been very transparent as a company. I think that's probably helped. There's nobody, you know, there's nobody in crypto, quite honestly, in my opinion, that works as hard as I do. I mean, it's, you know, probably 5 days ago, I had a good 10-day run of literally getting up at 4 in the morning and going to bed at about, you know, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Just trying to get all this TNC stuff done, some of the stuff we're doing with some of the other things we'll talk about later. But I mean, you know, I guess fortunately I'm not work adverse. I mean, I love working. I work a lot of hours, and that's what makes it happen. I mean, that's the only way to be successful at anything.
Yep.
So
I think also the fact that people can approach you in Telegram and talk to you, and obviously you reply. I don't think, you know, you don't get that in many projects. And also the openness of the videos, like it is, if it's not working, or it, you know, it's like put your hand up and okay, it's not working. And I think people really appreciate that. And then, you know, you get the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will, in the sort of the video calls. And then people, I think it humanizes everything, and they see it, rather than a lot of projects are just pumping it and, oh, everything's amazing, when really the directors legged it to Barbados or whatever.
And I'll take responsibility. I mean, there's you know, I'm the head of the ship. You know, it's I've got a military background. You know, somebody crashes an airplane at an Air Force base, it's the base commander that gets fired. You know, not the guys that crashed the airplane. You know, it's tenuous to run a business, and it may even be more tenuous to run a community. But I just truly believe that transparency is what's important. I mean, if somebody's going to invest in you, they should be able to talk to you. I mean,
Sure.
and making false claims and trying to do pump and dumps and all these other kind of, crypto tricks and stuff that don't have brick and mortars behind them. They are what they are. They end up being failures. That's that. If you look at my resume on LinkedIn, that's not what I'm about. I mean, I'm a global dominator. When I play to win. So it's
Very good, Dwight. I just want to say there is something else as well. That so the flavor of the Krios Telegram group, it's very sober. It's just sober and sensible. Very little nonsense in there, like in other Telegram groups, right? That I've been in. Very little fudding and name calling and stuff. And credit to you and the team, Dwight. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you're actually delivering a product.
I mean, quite honestly, you can't have anything that's going to make money without a product.
Yeah.
I mean, it's somewhere it has to make money. My favorite project is Ethereum. I mean, I think Ethereum did it right. They charge a gas fee to move their token around. I mean, that's how they get paid. But it's a business, and you look at some of these other ones that want to be some sort of a monetary, transference, and it's like, well, okay, well, what's behind it? You got a block of gold, there's nothing. I mean, so it's just a different mindset. I come from regular old corporate America. Last job was basically CTO at a public company. I mean, that's how I run this thing. This ain't no smoke and mirrors, FOMO kind of stuff. So,
and just on that, Dwight, what is the 30, 60, 90-day plan going forward?
So we've struggled with the COVID situation like pretty much every company that's out there. We've got two businesses that are attached to the profit sharing part of the business. One of them's Digital Track, which is an ad tech platform that does some pretty cool advertising stuff for car dealerships. Here in the US, the car dealerships aren't getting cars, so they've stopped spending. In fact, I was talking to one guy this morning. He said he got his first 6 cars in 3 months to sell, and he's a big car dealership. So I mean, if they're not manufacturing them, they can't sell them. So that business kind of dried up from the COVID with us. Obviously, here in the US, I think we peaked out at about 33% unemployment. It's starting to work its way back down now, which is good. But when you got 33% of the people unemployed, it's only common sense that the employers aren't spending money. And it's the platform itself has gone through a desert of lack of jobs that are posted for people to actually have. So this is kind of given us time. I hate to delay anything, but it has given us time to kind of refocus on some of the different things that we needed to focus on to keep this company successful. And part of that is our exchange plan and how we get the gig token to have more liquidity in the market. And more importantly, on the platform plan. I've always been, if you look at any of the previous videos, it's all about the platform. It's all about making money. If we make money, we're going to be successful. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line, as long as you don't steal it or do something stupid with it. So we have kind of started to make a pretty substantial change in the way that we're going to be accepting freelancers. We started a curation system about a month ago. Our administrators curate everybody that comes in. Right now, they're pretty much just curating to make sure that, that it looks professional. You got a professional picture, you got, good grammar in there and all of that kind of stuff. Having spoken with our PR company, their big find, because we've been paying them to do a lot of research in the industry and against our competitors, and that is the credibility factor we were talking about earlier. So we are going to probably start to actually have phone conversations with a lot of these freelancers. We have a KYC system that gives them a badge that shows that they've been verified as a real person and all that kind of stuff currently. But I think we're going to go a couple steps farther than that over the next, 30 days, 60 days. And with that, we're going to take and hopefully just have a lot higher quality of people out there. That's really the problem with the freelancer platforms out there now, is the fact that there isn't credibility in most of the jobs that are out there. So we're trying to fix that. We've announced last video interview, I think, about the ServiceMax deal that we did. Our PR company brought that to us as well. So that's huge.
Dwight, before we go on to the ServiceMax deal, forgive me for interrupting you. I just want to ask you something about the curating that you're going to be doing, because you said at the beginning. Remember, I'm new to Cree, right? You said at the beginning that you offer a competitive advantage to the legacy companies that do this.
Right.
But you do KYC, and now you're going to be calling people, checking them and stuff. That's going to add to your business costs. How are you going to maintain competitiveness?
Well, I think I'm all about running lean and mean. We probably, quite honestly, and it might just be Dwight being optimistic. You'll find I'm a pretty optimistic person, but not that anything good could happen from the COVID situation. But I think timing-wise for our company, it was probably it's pretty good for us, actually. If I've been doing some research myself and actually talking to some of the people at our competitors, and it's, when you got thousands of employees and COVID hits, it's hard to manage. We don't have thousands of employees. We less than 20 employees. That's manageable, even though it's coming out of my pocket at this point. It's still something that's not going to put us out of business. It's something that we're able to deal with, and we're able to kind of cover those kind of expenses, and hopefully we're going to be having our foot on the gas a lot harder coming out of this, I think, than they will. Fiverr, if anybody's been watching what they did, they actually just raised $100 million from Wall Street. And I think that was primarily done because they needed it. Companies don't go out and raise money unless they have to have it. If they're out buying companies and doing stuff like that, then you go raise money. But if your business plan isn't making you money, that's when you're going to raise money. If you're making money, you don't have to go out and ask for it. Why give up the company if you're making money? So that, to me, that's a little chink in their armor. It kind of shows a little bit as to, what their situation may be. So sometimes, and I've seen this many, many times. This is one reason I'm probably an entrepreneur, in most of my life, is that companies, when they start to make money, they get stupid with it, and they just want lots of employees. They got to have 1,000 employees and stuff like that. I'd rather hire a freelancer than have a full-time staff. I mean, that's just me, because it gives you more flexibility when problems like this happen. So I think that, that being said, the curation system, I think, is going to put us in a different layer of credibility out there in that market space. I think that the deal that we're doing with ServiceMax kind of is going to help all of that, and with the credibility issue as well. So, their customer base is your Fortune 100 companies. It's GE, it's big companies with hundreds of thousands of employees. And, for us to play in their space, we need to have solid individuals that are willing to do work with them. So that's kind of the motivation towards what we're moving towards.
I suppose the switch in itself, if you think about profit per head, if you've got someone that's just doing logos, you might make $50 a year on 7 or 8 jobs, where if you just get one service engineer, let's say they're on $60,000, now that price per head is through the roof. And actually,
huge difference.
That cost of maybe a 20-minute phone call, $12, $15, let's call it. I mean, then becomes pretty much inadmissible.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be less than 20 minutes. You know, there'll be a process and forms that they fill out, and they'll just be verified. You know, hopefully it'll be like a 5-minute call. And again, you know, like you said, James, it's, you know, it's to get the people that are going to be worth $60,000 a year versus $30 a gig, basically. So, you know, it's kind of it is kind of a forklift change to the way the company is right now. You know, we kind of went out, didn't really know a whole lot about the space. We did a bit of research on it, but you know, you don't know it until you do it, kind of thing. And one of the things that we did was, you know, chicken or the egg. You know, do you get a bunch of employees and then ask for the employers, or you get a bunch of employers and hope the employees follow along? You know, we went out there and spent a pretty good lick of money. We had, yeah, I think right now we're still sitting on over 80,000 freelancers that are on the platform. But quite frankly, of those 80,000, there's probably less than 5,000 that any of the three of us would consider hiring. So, you know, we've got to be careful, Rich, to your point, that we're not vetting people that aren't going to be, you know, good for the business, so that we're not just wasting the money. Yeah, it will definitely cost some overhead, but hopefully the offset will greatly exceed the overhead.
And then I think one of the other things, that one of the key questions that come from the guys, you can obviously go on the platform and you can buy the gig token. Maybe you don't want to go on the exchanges or whatever. There's obviously been a few changes to how that process works to somewhat. If you could just elaborate on that, that would be great.
Yeah, there has been. So since we switched to the gig token from Cree, we kind of set a price out there right now, and I think it's probably about 3 times what the current exchange rates are. We knew we were getting gamed a little bit. You know, it was okay because we think we knew who was gaming us, and you know, they were friendlies to us, and good people that we want to kind of take care of anyway. But the platform isn't really made to sell gig. If you're not familiar with cryptos, we want to give you the option and ability to get into the gig token. So we have the ability for you to buy it out there right now. Like I said, it's about 3 times what the current run rate is. That will change once the token settles down a little bit. We're going to go to a extended period of average. So in other words, it would be like a 1-week average of the price, and that's what the price would be on the website. But yeah, James, to your point, it's not. It used to be reflective of the coin market cap price within the last 10 minutes, and that's not going to happen anymore. It's too easy to manipulate. There's not a big enough. We don't have a big enough book at this point to be able to make sure that one person can't drop that thing down 20 or 30% to buy it on the platform. The platform buys nice because, you know, it accepts credit cards. You don't have to know credit, you know, cryptos. You don't have to go find an ATM where you can, you know, dump some $100 bills into it to get some Ethereum out, and all the hassle it is to get into crypto. This gives you a nice, easy way to get into it. And again, like I said, you know, as looking more like a stock type of token, it's a way for the general person to get into it. So
I don't know if you look on CoinMarketCap, I think TNC, if you look at all the different exchanges, there's some opportunities, shall we say?
Yeah, for the TNC price. Yeah, definitely. So when you know, right now, you know, people are saying, you know, well, when am I going to get my TNC, or when's TNC going to be traded? I see that, you know, out there in the group every now. TNC is being traded right now. I mean, just click the markets tab in CoinMarketCap, and you'll see all the different areas that it's traded at. And there is a sizable opportunity out there right now. I mean, I'm buying it. A sizable opportunity out there to make some money doing kind of an arbitrage between the exchanges. So, and you people that are outside of the U.S., you really got the opportunity. I mean, I'm limited to like 4 of all their exchanges that I can even buy on, and some of the ones in China. I mean, you can pick yourself up an easy 20-30% spread in a minute. So, so get out there and trade on TNC. Help their market making team level that price out a little bit.
Definitely. And I know Rich has got some questions on exchanges and stuff.
Yes. Thank you so much, James. So So while TNC is on lots and lots of exchanges, Gig is on LA Token and a couple of others.
Yeah, so right now, we kept on LA Token when we relaunched. So one of the deals with TNC was they got all of our exchanges, and that was with all the other projects too. So we had to rebuy basically a seat on LA Token. We did that immediately. LA Token's been a really good exchange for us. I mean, super good team over there as far as responsiveness and stuff. We had previously been on P2P. We decided to not relist on P2P. There wasn't enough trading, and quite honestly, it was asking a question, even when I asked a question, it'd take a month to get an answer from. So we kind of bailed on that one. We opened up on Fogarty because we wanted to have an exchange that U.S. individuals were able to trade on. It's a very light exchange, not a lot of trading out there, but you can trade, and as a U.S. citizen, you can trade out there. We just launched Stex, which is also U.S. friendly. They've got a very solid team, very much like LA Token, like my experience so far with those guys. And they have a decent amount of real traffic and real volume. If you look at some of the metrics that are out on CoinMarketCap on the exchanges, they've got a good solid metric there, which is good. So some of the announcements that people are waiting, Rich, for us to discuss. Everybody knows we're on Stex. We opened that up on Monday. We actually tested trading, I think it was late Friday night, so over the weekend it was technically open, but we kind of announced it on Monday. Next Monday, or this coming Monday, we are opening a trading competition, and we will be posting out what the actual competition is, what you got to do to get what, and all that other kind of stuff on Stex to try to help increase some volumes and trading and bring some new people to the interest of the Gig token. With that, I'm going to probably be opening up another Telegram channel that's going to be kind of an Ask Me Anything, what they call, an AMA kind of channel for new people to come to. And basically, I saw your trading competition and I'm interested in Gig. What is it you do? And we're going to be there basically just to ask me anything. Is it raining in Georgia? Yeah, whatever, so again, with the transparency, even more transparency on that. We've negotiated a deal with another exchange, Probit. So Stex is kind of global. They're probably more EU-ish than anything else, but they do have people in America, and they're able to trade in America, which is good. Probit, we're going to be launching probably within the next 30 days. And that will get us coverage in the Korean markets, as well as we'll do a trading competition there. We've already negotiated out the prices and marketing and all that stuff with them. And then probably shortly thereafter, probably 2 or 3 weeks after that, there's a Chinese exchange that's very China-centric that we're going to be dropping into as well. And we'll do a trading competition there again with the AMA channels open, so that, as new traders come in and they're interested in what they're buying, they can get an answer pretty quickly from, a Telegram type channel. So that's kind of the exchange plan. I'd like to see us after those add probably exchange once a quarter-ish maybe, and be very geographically focused. I know everybody wants us to be on Binance, but who doesn't? We don't have the money for that. I can tell people that right now. Yeah. But there is an exchange that I've been looking at that's very Middle Eastern, for some of those kind of countries to get into, and then there's a Russian exchange. So there are other exchanges that we're going to look to drop into, but they're going to be strategic based on regionalism, not size as much, just to try to get the word of Gig out there and what it is we're doing and how we're doing it. So that's kind of the exchange plan.
Very good. So Probit in the next 30 days, Stex trading competition, then Probit in the next 30 days,
Correct.
and then a Korean exchange.
Probit is the Korean one.
Probit is a Chinese exchange after that,
Yeah.
and then maybe 1.25 region with a regional focus.
That's correct. And I am going to spend more of my effort actually at working our tokenomics. The first year pretty much has been, the first 7 months was certainly heads down development, writing a site and the application, trying to get it out there so that, at least there was, the brick and mortar kind of behind the token. That was obviously most important focus. This TNC deal's probably taken up way too many cycles, but, we're here at this point. And, I think it's time for us to not only focus on the marketing of the application and the brick and mortar and the changes that we're going to be doing in there, but also we need to be taking into account the tokenomics and creating a market where, if you buy gig, you want to be able to sell it. And right now I've failed you at that. I mean, nobody can go out there and sell, $20,000 worth of gig, and we should have those markets built up. Those books on the buy and the sell side should be built up. So I am focusing on that and what it is we can do with that.
Won't that come with the business becoming more and more profitable?
I think, as many people in our community have told me, I think when we start to do the distributions of profit shares, I think the people will come. I mean, especially some of the numbers of profit shares that I think we're going to probably be able to surprise some people with the Service Max deal. So I think that there's again, it's kind of the chicken or the egg kind of thing. We have to have exposure. People need to know that there's even a gig token out there. And I think to do that, we have to be in enough regional exchanges so that if people hear about it, whether it be through a press release or whether it be from a partner company or something like that, they need to know where they can buy it. So we've got to have that kind of set up for that, as well as, a lot of press around when we start doing these profit shares. So,
okay, very good, very good. Anything else you want to let us know about the exchanges before we move on to James?
We've, like I say, I've been focusing a bit of my time on it lately. People will see some traffic out there. Again, that traffic, I hate to say that we're doing it, but it's unfortunate in this market that you have to do it. And quite honestly, Wall Street does it too, so I don't feel super bad about it. But we did spend a pretty good lick of money developing a market-making software that's now running on the 3 platforms that does buys and sells on its own, trying to lift the price or to keep the price up where we would like to see it. And quite frankly, it's working pretty well. It will actually buy tokens. We're giving each of the exchanges, X number of dollars a day to actually spend, and the company gets the tokens back. I mean, we're actually pulling gig back out of the marketplace with that software, which is what's going to drive the price up. So,
okay. And are there any plans to burn the tokens ever?
Is there any place to do what?
Are there any plans to burn gig tokens?
Oh no, not at all.
No. Okay.
There's.
I mean, I'm fresh and new to the company.
Yeah. No, there's 500 million out there. Like I said, the company controls more than 50% of those, and those are truly set aside for M&A activity. If you follow regular stock markets, and that's kind of what I'd like it to look like, there's 2 things that we're doing that are probably very unique in the crypto space. One is we're doing profit shares. The reason we do profit shares is there's a calculator that's used in the traditional markets called a DDM calculator, and it's Warren Buffett's favorite thing. I mean, if you follow the Warren Buffett plan, it's all about dividends. We call it profit shares. But the DDM calculator basically states that, if we were to give like 21 cents as dividends this year, we've got like a $51 stock would be the valuation of that. So that's the premise that we work with for that dividend. The treasury amount is really set aside for M&A activities. You will see almost on a daily basis, if you look across all of the different markets, companies will reissue new stock. You know, IBM will go out and say, hey, we're going to come up with a preferred class of stock, and here's 100 million shares, and they're $100 a piece. What are they doing it for? They're buying out a company. They need cash to buy out a company. So that's why, that is one reason that we have that treasury set aside, is so that when an opportunity comes along that we just, you know, got to have, we've got the cash. That's kind of our currency to be able to use to acquire some of these other businesses.
I suppose just for anyone that is new, that when we're talking about all the buying of the businesses, it's all about layering. So you've got Krios and the profit from Krios, and then you buy another one and software leasing, and all of a sudden you've got 7 or 8 different companies providing a profit for one token.
Correct.
And I think that's the concept behind it all, you know, because I'm quite familiar with Mr. Buffett, and he owns most of our company.
Yeah, and quite honestly, more importantly, it gives us some, you know, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So right now, Krios has 2 baskets. We got Digital Track and we've got Krios application. COVID took them both out. That's a bad thing, you know, and if we had 6 of them, it might have taken all 6 out. But, you know, you want to spread your risk around. So the layering, James, like you said, of the businesses is very important to a solid business model over time. You know, this isn't, we're not a fly by night. We're not the guys that are out there looking to make you 100% of your money in 4 days, you know, which, you know, some of these projects are out there toting, you know, well, you're going to make 20% per month if you buy our token. Well, what do you do to make 20%? You know, it's a shell game. You know, that's not true. This is in a real business model. Real companies diversify. I mean, General Electric makes jet engines, but they also make washing machines. You know, they both spin, but they certainly don't do anything that's anywhere near to each other. So, you know, that's how you get to be like a GE, is with diversification. What you primarily would like to focus on, just as far as the cycles that are used, is an industry that is a layering industry, as far as the ability that it's useful for both applications. In other words, if we were able to get a payment system along with the freelancing platform, that makes a lot of sense, right? Cuts out our costs for the payment system. We also now get the profits from that for the other companies that use that payment system. So those are the kind of things that you kind of strive for when you're looking at M&A. Unless it's just ridiculously profitable. So those usually cost a lot of money.
And just on that, there was obviously, we collected quite a lot of questions. The number one question that was number one on every single question list was about profit share. So I'll hand that one over to you, Dwight.
Yeah, so, you know, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say that I don't see us doing a end of month profit share. As much as I would like to, the company certainly has not made any profits. I can attest, and so can my bank accounts, that we're certainly not making enough revenue to even pay the bills. That being said, one of the things that I want to do is probably come off of this mindset of quarterly profit shares, although that, you know, eventually it'd be nice to just always have it. We're going to do away with the KYC for now, and probably do some test distributions of stuff. So if your KYC didn't pass, don't worry about it. As long as you signed up for the profit share, we're going to take care of you. But I think that from all the conversations that we've had with some of the deals that we're working on right now, there's going to be a lot of very happy people in the profit sharing space here in the short term being, you know, several months, but still things are very bright. There's certain things I can't talk about, unfortunately, contractually, but I guess let's just put the rubber where the road meets. I wouldn't continue to spend tens of thousands of my own dollars a month on a business I didn't think was going to make a lot of money. And that's probably the best thing I can say about it. I mean, it is in a place now that we could see ludicrous money. And I think that we've kind of got the setup for it. We've got a lot of work ahead of us. One of the deals with ServiceMax is going to require a lot of development from our side, which obviously costs a lot of money, as you can expect. But it's going to kind of put us in a different place where we can almost look more like a payroll company than just a freelancing company for some of these large corporations. So.
Okay.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, that's the answer, James. It's not
No,
something
I think it's
to hear, but I think
it's real.
It would be it would be foolish of me, and I think people should, if they wouldn't, lose respect for me if I said, okay, well, we're going to do a profit share, but the company's not making money, and put us further in the hole and less likely to be successful at the end of the day. I'm in this for the long term, not the short term. So I think it just behooves us to make sure that the company is healthy. I tell my wife that all the time. My comment is, I got two real famous comments. To my kids, I always tell them, you don't get what you don't ask for. And that always bites me in the ass because they ask for stuff. Give it to them,
Yes.
But with Teresa, a lot of times it's like, she's like, well, gosh, there's a lot of money we're putting in here. And it's like, you got to feed the beast. You got if the beast dies, you got nothing. You got to feed the beast.
Yeah.
And
You got to be.
Sorry, Rich.
You got to be smart about. You got to be smart about it. You got to feed it the right food at the right time, and not give it too much to eat and too much sugar and carbs and stuff, because then it will just be sick and die, right?
Queuing at McDonald's
so
for 2 hours.
That's right. Definitely not too much chocolate, James. No. So I imagine many token holders will be disappointed, but then also I want to bring in the maxim long-term greedy. And like you were saying, it takes time to build a business. You got to be long-term greedy rather than like, okay, I want the goodies now. And so perhaps exercise some impulse control, and then to acknowledge the work that you are doing with ServiceMax and the other stuff, and then also for the gig holders who are going to do very nicely out of the Tnc deal.
I think
that's
not
to be sniffed at all.
Yeah, I would hope that people kind of look at the Tnc deal as a profit share. I mean, it's it did require an enormous amount of work. It's profits to the company. We could have said, no, we're not going to distribute it. We're just going to keep it ourselves. That would have made no sense. So I think it's hopefully people will understand that. But yeah, it's it reminds me of a joke I probably can't say on here, but some of you may remember. There's an old bull on a hill and a young bull on a hill, and there's a whole bunch of cows in the field beneath them. If you know that joke, that's kind of the mindset that you got to be in. You can walk down the hill or you can run down the hill, but so.
And then the other thing to acknowledge, right? So 1 second, James, is the tease. Yes, there's stuff you can't talk about because it's for commercial confidentiality and NDAs and all of that stuff, right? But I do notice a smile on your face. I do also notice what you have produced and accomplished so far. And it looks like everything's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So that's also something to look forward to for people.
Yeah, we're
Sorry,
at our
James.
1-year anniversary. I mean, most companies don't even start to make a profit until 3 or 4 years into it. So I think, the fact that we're probably several months away from an actual profit, short of the TNC distribution, is pretty remarkable. It unfortunately, and James knows this, and Rich, I don't think your users are very, up on Krios, but when we bought Krios, wow, there wasn't a whole lot behind it. It was a yeoman's fight just to get the community to understand that, hey, we got a vision, we want to bring you along with it. And I think that at this point they're there. like I say, I'm super proud of our community. We've got great people in there. Great ideas. No idea is a bad idea, and that's what I always tell everybody. I got some guys that give me an idea about every day that are completely off the wall, but every now and then they'll throw one out there, and it's like, there's a really good one there. Speaking of which, that's one of the things, the questions that James, you got. There was a screenshot you had sent over about staking and about having minimum limits as far as you got to hold X number of gig to be able to participate in the profit shares. Definitely want to continue a conversation with that person. I'm familiar with staking. One of the other projects that's a solid project over in the TNC deal is Edge. And that's kind of their deal. You basically kind of rent hard drive out and stake and all that kind of good stuff, and they've done very well with that. They got a good platform over there for that. So
it supports your tokenomics at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to listen to people. There's no one person here smart enough to make something this size work. So you gotta take your ego out of the arena and listen to people.
100%.
Good. So James, you were going to ask something.
I forgot now.
Very good. Is there anything else?
Okay, whoever asked that question, you can talk to James about that.
I'll get Darren to contact you, because it was his idea actually. It was really good.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you, Dwight. Thank you, Rich, for inviting me on tonight. Really appreciate it, mate.
Thank you for inviting me on to Cree.
Yeah, and if I'm sure you guys will post the links to like the Telegram channel and the website and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
On the videos, but your community, take a look at us. I think we've got a really good thing going on here. You'll be shocked when you come into our community and see kind of the brotherhood that we have. It's not, Rich, kind of like you said, it's not, there's not a lot of people complaining about other people or belittling people and all that other kind of stuff. It's a good community. I think there's a lot of friendships that have been built out of there, which is awesome.
I was going to say, the other thing that probably most companies don't have, and I just realized, because I went to the shop, so I had to put a jumper on, but we've got the old Krios gear going on as well. So you can check out the website, a little bit of a plug here, and you can get your own Krios t-shirts and bags, and also I've got a bag somewhere as well. So and
watch the fights. I mean, jeepers snipes. The fights that our fighters are doing are awesome. I mean, we got a great team. Krios is what I call them. It's kind of fun to you may or may not be into martial arts, but when you got your people in the ring, you believe me, you love it.
And I think some of the big ones. I think Fabian Edwards, one to watch, Bellator, like couple more fights, and he's going to be the world champion.
Wow!
And he's just mind blowing. Really good guy.
All right. Well, listen, on that. James, thank you so much. Thank you for introducing me to Cree. Thank you for making it work to join us. Dwight, thank you so much. Eventually, at last, you come on my channel.
Yeah, we've been talking about this.
That's right. For everybody who's watching, please go and subscribe and watch and join James's channel. He's done loads and loads of videos, which will give you a real solid background into the history of this project, and lots and lots of conversations with Dwight. So do go and subscribe to him, and go check out the Telegram group and Twitter and everything, and do your own due diligence. Check out Cree. And between now and when I see you next, please keep filling your pockets with crypto profits. This is Crypto Rich and Crypto James and Crypto Dwight signing out. All the best. Bye bye.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, very good, very good. Now, one of the things for people to know is that, actually, I don't know if I'm going to say this. Just, okay. All right, I got it. Okay, so let's go back in. Okay. Let me just pause for a second. So Dwight, oops.
Oh, come on. You go, Rich. You tee it up then. You tee it up, Rich.
Might keep this thing in.
the outtakes.
Exactly. That's actually pretty good, James. I like that. Might want to do an update.